thank you all very, very much for coming, especially on a Sunday when I know a lot of you want to be doing other things. From the bottom of my heart, I say thank you. First off, I want to thank the mayor for coming. You know, this is the greatest city in the world, and it deserves the very best mayor in the world, and we have him in Michael Bloomberg. I met Mike Bloomberg before he ran for mayor. Back in, right after I was elected to Congress, we put together, had an idea to raise funds for a USO tour that you, Andrew, had mentioned before, to entertain the troops overseas. And one of the first guys I met in an effort to raise those funds with Mike Bloomberg, went up to his office, and he had an office about 8 by 10 at the time, Mr. Mayor, and without hesitation helped to raise the funds to ensure that our troops get the very best of what they need. And then thereafter, when we were privileged enough that he threw his hat in the ring to run for mayor, it was shortly in September of 2001 when we met for lunch. I paid. Shows you my judgment at that point. And at the time, if you recall, it was going to be an uphill struggle. A lot of people didn't think he had a shot. But then just a few days later, September 11th happened. And we all know in this room, I wouldn't even ask you to stand up if you knew someone personally, had a family member. You know full well what that meant to this country, especially this community. And the people in their wisdom in that November chose the guy to lead us and to help us rebuild, and to help us reclaim, and to help us inject a degree of spirit that continues to make this country, and in particular this city, the greatest. And Mr. Mayor, in your next venture in November, you can be guaranteed that Staten Island and New York City will be there once again for you. Thank you very much. To the folks who spoke before me, I wouldn't be here without all of them. With Guy, is calling me back in 1994 to asking me to run and giving me that honor. To Jimmy, who has served this community with distinction for decades, who was there for me from day one, thank you. To Andrew, who has served with distinction and honor in both the City Council and in Albany, but more importantly has been my friend all these years. I thank him. And to Jimmy, there's no man in City Hall or indeed this country who can speak with more conviction from the heart and can serve his constituents as well as Jimmy Otto. So thank you, Jimmy. And to Vinny and Vivian as well, carrying on the tradition. So well done by Steve Fiala and Fred and so many others to put the people of this community first. And that has not been left at the doorstep of Lou Tobacco's house, because like the others, we can be very proud of the fact that Lou has served us and continues to serve us with honor as well. I've been very, very blessed, and this lunch is about a simple thing, and that's thank you. You know, whenever I've been honored to accompany the mayor in many of his visits to Washington, and it's interesting because we sit down with Secretary so-and-so and Secretary so-and-so and Speaker so-and-so, and always, and I can tell you this, the first words out of his mouth is, I just came here to say thank you for everything you've done for New York City. I know a lot of people ask, I'm here to say thank you. And then he asks, but that's what this lunch is about. I've been so blessed and privileged in some good times, not so good times, to have people who have stood by me, who have given me the distinct honor and distinct privilege to represent my hometown in Congress. And that's all of you. And I would not be the man I am, but for the fact that you have carried me all these years, that have given me so many wonderful gifts that have made my life more blessed. I've been honored and privileged to have a wonderful family that has stood by me, and given me the same degree of opportunity that one man really shouldn't have. I'm just a kid from South Beach. I grew up. I was lucky enough to have those friends and family all those years, go to school here, come back home, and was asked to serve. From day one, I'd like to think I've done my best. I've tried to do what was right for all of you. And in the coming weeks ahead and years ahead, as I always maintain, as God is the master weaver, and until now my fabric has been nothing but silver and gold threads, and I believe the fabric that will yet to be weaved will be nothing but silver and gold. And I've been blessed to have friends like Peter King. Some people ask, what are you going to do after Congress? I said, well, frankly, I was offered to be Secretary of State, and I turned it down, recommended Senator Clinton, so our next United States Senator would be my good friend in Congress, and a good friend overall, Peter King. I'd like to thank the folks who I've had the privilege to work with all these years, the staff, I know some of whom are here today, Sherry and Rosemary and Bob and Andrew, and all the people that have served the people of the council and of the congressional district since April of 1994. We've always tried to have one mission, is that to put the people of this community first and serve them with honesty and integrity. And I'd like to think we did that. So I want to thank my so-called staff and my colleagues in government for doing this. Thank Richie and Lois, the coacher, for once again helping to bring together a great group of people and doing it with such class. Richie and Lois, thank you very much for helping here. Very few are like myself, again, are blessed, but I'm blessed to have great parents. I'd like to thank my mother and father. I think I have some roses up here for your mom, so I'll give them to you a little later, okay? I have a great uncles, I should say. Great sisters and brother, and particularly I want to thank all my sisters who are here, Lori and Vicki and Veronica, Elizabeth, and the one who really helped us spearhead this is Catherine, my sister Catherine. And also, sometimes we forget and we move on in life, but there are certain